All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're going to tackle a question that's so fundamental we almost never even stop to ask it. I mean, have you ever really thought about it? Why is New York there? Or Tokyo? Or London? It is absolutely not an accident. Every single city's location tells an incredible story about geography, technology, and pure human ambition. So, let's solve that puzzle together. Okay, first things first, let's get our key terms straight. Urbanization. For most of human history, we were a rural species, right? Spread out all over the place. But starting around the 18th century, something began to change, and it changed fast. Urbanization is that massive global shift, the great migration into cities that has basically defined our modern world. So to understand why a city even exists, you've got to start with the land itself. Let's break down the where into two core ingredients that determine if a city can even get off the ground. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The idea of location actually splits into two parts. You've got the site, which you can think of as a place's natural DNA. Does it have fresh water? Is the land defensible? And then you have the situation, which is all about connections. Is it on a river, near a major trade route? It's the city's strategic position on the world's game board. A perfect example, San Francisco. Its site is incredible, a massive, deep-water natural harbor, totally perfect for ships. That alone made it a fantastic spot for a settlement. But it was the discovery of gold nearby, its situation, that lit the fuse. It supercharged its growth, turning a promising site into a legendary boomtown. This just brilliantly illustrates the power of situation. A good site is important, for sure, but a great situation can build an empire. Just look at Samarkand on the Silk Road or Shanghai on the sea. Their power came not just from the patch of land they sat on, but from their strategic position within a massive network of trade. So a good geographic foundation is the spark, but what's the fuel? What takes a promising little settlement and turns it into a sprawling metropolis, a supernova? Well, that's where these 5 accelerators come in. And here they are. You've got transportation, which is how we move, communication, how we connect, population and migration, which is all about where people choose to live, economic development, which creates the jobs, and finally, government policies, which kind of set the rules of the game. Together, these are the dynamic forces that truly transform a settlement into a city. Let's start with transportation, because this one literally changed the shape of our cities. This timeline shows it perfectly. First, you had the walking city, where you could only build as far as a person could reasonably walk. They were small, they were dense. Then the streetcar comes along and the city starts to starch out, kind of like fingers along the transit lines. And finally, the automobile. The car and the highway just blew the model wide open, creating the sprawling suburbs that so many of us live in today. Now, running right alongside transportation, communication technology has been just as revolutionary. The telegraph and telephone made it so much easier to run a big business from a central city office. But the internet? Oh, that took it to a whole new level. And it leads to this fascinating concept: space-time compression. It sounds complicated, right? But it's really just that simple feeling that distance doesn't matter as much anymore. Thanks to the internet, a business in one city can serve the entire globe instantly. And this concentrates even more economic power in those urban centers that have the infrastructure to support it. Of course, cities need people. This chart shows a really crucial shift. The Great Migration from the countryside to the city used to be the story of places like the US and the UK. But today, the real engine of urbanization has moved. The most massive migrations on the planet are now happening in developing nations across the globe. So why do people move? Well, it's primarily for jobs. The economic shift from farms to factories and now to service and tech jobs is like a powerful magnet pulling people into cities. But this growth isn't just random chaos. Government policies act as the rules of the road, with zoning laws deciding what gets built where and infrastructure spending determining which parts of a city are going to grow next. Okay, let's put all these pieces together. We've seen the foundation and we've seen the fuel. So what's the complete story of how a modern city is born and grows into the sprawling forms we see all around us today? Here's the crucial point. It's a two-part story. Geography provides the potential. A good harbor or a spot on a trade route, that's the spark. But it's human innovation, our technology, our economy, and our policies that acts as the fuel, fanning that spark into the massive, world-changing fire of a modern city. And that leaves us with a fascinating final thought to chew on. If technology like the internet is making our physical location less and less important, if it's compressing space and time, what does that mean for the future? What will be the site and the situation that actually matter for the great cities of tomorrow?